Hi everyone! This is a brief summary of one of the webinars held during the 2020 Eumol Winter School, organized by the Eumol Giammoni Chair in Eumol Law and by the University of Siena. We had the pleasure of meeting Professor Christos Gortzos, who is currently teaching Public Economic Law at the Law School of the National Kapodistrian University of Athens. In this occasion, we discussed the launch of his new book, called European Central Banking Law. We start talking about the role of the European Central Bank and of the national central banks under the European law, which we can say provide a comprehensive overview of the European Union central banking law. Then we discussed the role of the central bank as a banking supervisory authority and how it is involved in shaping the monetary policy, macroprudential oversight. And finally, we discussed the changes in its responsibility in the aftermath of the latest financial crisis and of the ongoing fiscal crisis in the European area.
With regard to this, I found very interesting the discussion about the decision of the German Constitutional Court to reject the European Court of Justice ruling on bond purchasing and the way the ECB may act as lender of last resort. In this book, Professor Gortzos also tries to identify the role of the national central banks, which in some cases have a predominant role, in other cases a subordinate role. But they all play a very important role with regard to the cooperation with the ECB within the SSM, and this is why the subtitle of the book is The Role of European Central Bank and National Central Banks under European Law. Because he has not tried to identify which is the role and what are the functions of national central banks under the national law. This will require extensive explanation, and it is not the purpose of this book. The main point of Professor Gortzos is that one of the conditions for a member state to become a member of the Eurozone is that its central bank should be independent, which was obvious to some countries but not for other countries. In this opinion, Professor Gortzos claims that this independence should be higher. He also made some proposal on how ELA should be structured around the ECB and not by national central banks. He believes that lending of last resort should go to the monetary authority, in this case the ECB, and in the end he tried to sketch all the links between monetary policy, fiscal policy and economic policy to show that in order to have an effective monetary policy you need to have financial stability and economic stability. Participating to this webinar, it's been a great opportunity for me to concretely touch topics that look abstract to me as a student and see the peculiar point of view of Professor Gortzos. I am very grateful and cannot wait for the next webinar.
We now want to thank Professor Gimigliano and Professor Salerno that gave us such a beautiful and constructive experience that the pandemic situation notwithstanding has been a beautiful complement for our master class in international banking and financial regulation, and given the limits of the pandemic situation, of course, we found this very interesting. For this reason, from me and from Georgiana, thank you.